When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void with a Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. We're going to continue where we last left off. As you could hear sounds of metal clashing with each other, as you see the shadows of the two figures fighting with swords, colliding with each strike. As Izuku and Lady Gaunt continue their intense battle, Izuku is clearly holding back his strength. He doesn't want this battle to end too soon. He's having too much fun. Izuku blocked Lady Gaunt's sword, swung, and immediately counterattacked by bending his knee slightly and unleashing a sword slash upwards, only for his opponent to block and spin to the right, forcing Izuku to block the incoming sword slash to his right side of his body. The moment he pushed off her sword, he did a spin slash, forcing Lady Gaunt to block his attack. As she was sent sliding backwards from the pure physical force of his strength, when his sword clashes with her own while she was blocking his attempt to cut her through. Izuku managed to stay in sword range as he threw out a thrust, only to see Lady Gaunt jump up and land on the tip of Izuku's sword and gave out a powerful kick into his face as Izuku blocked it with his free hand, with his forearm, covering his face. He might have blocked her attack, but there was still a lot of force to her strength, as Izuku was flying backwards, skidding across the ground by his feet. That kick caught him off guard. He was quite surprised by the sheer feat of her physical strength in her legs. The moment Lady Gaunt landed on the ground, she immediately rushed forward towards Izuku, as she got into a fencing stance and began thrusting her sword outwards towards Izuku in rapid succession. Izuku dodged the sharp points of the sword, dodging and blocking her thrust attacks when he can. It's slowly increasing in her thrust speed, making it difficult for Izuku to dodge with his current speed. Izuku can tell she's increasing the speed of her thrusts. To counter it, Izuku increased his speed slightly, fast enough to dodge around the sword thrust attacks, but not fast enough for the opponent can't keep up with him. If it wasn't for his abilities that he got from being part of the Midoriya clan, he would have not survived. He most likely would have died on the spot. Izuku can tell she's clearly skilled in the ways of the blade that she is displaying. She's already performed several different types of sword styles. Izuku had to react fast, as one of the sword thrusts she gave out came mere inches away from his face, as he used his sword to redirect the momentum of the sword thrust at him. Izuku immediately Izuku immediately used her own fighting technique or style against her, as Izuku copied her movements perfectly as he repeatedly two swords thrust outwards towards Lady Nagant in a stabbing motion, making Lady Nagant be the one to be dodging and to be on the defensive. It only took Izuku to see it once to copy the fighting style. He was gifted with a photographic mind. So he is a very dangerous opponent when it comes to swords. Izuku increased his speed in his thrusts with his sword, making after images of himself, making it very difficult for Lady Nagant to predict where the sword is going to land. She couldn't block or parry any of the incoming attacks. They were just moving too fast. She lost track of his movements. As Izuku landed a strike on her waist, digging his tip of his sword into the side of her body, as he pulled the sword out and got into a swordsman stance. He immediately used the same fighting style that he used earlier to thrust out his sword in rapid succession. Then immediately jumped up in the middle of the air, did a backflip and 180 turn up in air as he swung his sword downwards towards Lady Nagant, only for Lady Nagant to block his attack from the air. Once he landed on the ground, he immediately disappeared, then reappeared to the left of Lady Nagant as he swung his sword upwards into a full sword slash while his knees was slightly bent, making his slash a lot more effective because of his body posture. Lady Nagant dodged the sword slash attempt and gave out her own as their swords began to collide with each other, making small sparks as both warriors are taking the battle a little more seriously. At first they were just testing the waters. Now the real battle begins. Lady Nagant finally decided to mix up her attacks as she continuously to perform sword slashes with her sword hand, and on her opposite hand she shoot out fireballs out of the small magic circle that appeared over her palm of her hand, as several fireballs shoot out towards Izuku. Izuku mentally panicked. He wasn't expecting this chick to be able to perform magic. He didn't sense magic from her whatsoever. The mixed up of attacks forced Izuku to back off and dodge Lady Nagant's attacks. With a smirk on his face. He wasn't expecting it, but it was a nice surprise. Lady Nagant's hands began to glow a dim green color as she placed her hand over her wound as it heals instantly. You seem surprised. Not everyone has an unnatural healing factor like you, Midoriya's. So I made a point to learn what magic I can when I found out that I'm quite adept to the craft. I was quite pleased by how useful magic really is. No one has ever forced me to use magic in battle before. I haven't been in a battle with a sword in a very long time. You managed to rekindle past emotions I thought I lost a long time ago. Lady Nagant got into a aggressive sword stance. Prepare yourself, Midoriya. I'm gonna come at you at the intent to kill. Zuko got into his own aggressive stance in kind. Don't threaten me with a good time. As he gave Lady Nagan a vicious grin, as his psychotic side surfaces, finally. Lady Nagan activated enchantment magic on herself so she can match up with the superior physical aptitudes of a Midoriya. She made sure to learn some enchantment magic so she can keep up with a Midoriya. She knows eventually she would come past one of them down the line. She's killed quite a few Midoriyas during her years with Toga. Zuko and Lady Nagan disappeared and reappeared as their blades collided with each other, as a small shockwave goes off. As part of the room gets a large sword slash mark on the wall. Faster they move, more sword slashes appear on the walls and on the floor of the room. They reappeared and clashed swords, making a huge shockwave, as they immediately get sent backwards from the aftermath of the wind. They both get pushed backwards a little bit, as Izuku burst out laughing with a massive grin on his face. This is so much fun. Show me more. As Izuku swung his sword wildly at Lady Nagan, Lady Nagan got knocked backwards from the pure force from his swung, rocking her into the wall. As soon as she got done getting acquainted with the wall, she hit the ground hard, coughing up blood from the physical force of his sword swung. From one simple Midoriya. As she slowly got up to her feet, noticing Izuku didn't even capitalize while she was recovering from that last attack. The moment she got to her feet, Izuku blitzed towards her while laughing, swinging his sword wildly at her again, forcing her to block each attempt on her life. It was quite difficult for her to match his erratic behavior. He's being very erratic and unpredictable. Nagan is fully aware that her opponent is holding back more power. She could barely keep up with the enchantment she has going on now. She knows she can't last for long with her current skill level in this type of magic. If Lady Nagan wasn't a seasoned assassin, she would have been intimidated by his glowing green eyes and his psychopathic behavior. Now she fully understands why Toga is quite interested in this young man. She understands Toga's comment about him showing traits for a perfect partner for her. After witnessing his psychotic nature, Lady Nagan was forced to jump backwards Lady Nagan was forced to jump to the side to dodge a incoming sword slash. There was a huge slash coming from the ground all the way to the wall. That would have cut her in half instantly. Lady Nagan got tired of being forced to be defensive, so she blitzed towards her opponent, forcing him to go on the defensive. She wasn't surprised to see that he's blocking each of her attacks, but she noticed that she's been nicking him with her blade, little by little bit. She activated the second level of her enchantment, increasing her speed and strength even further, pushing her body. She hasn't mastered this second level of her enchantment magic, so it will damage her body. They both disappeared as several sword flashes is being created all around the room, from them moving so fast that the human eye can't keep up with them. As they both reappeared in the middle of the room, both Lady McGaunt and Izuku are breathing heavy from their swords colliding with each other, as their swords are grinding towards each other, making slight sparks from the both of them pushing pressure towards each other. They both push outwards with their swords, making them both go sliding backwards a little bit, as they both get into a ready stance to lash out at the slightest movement. As they heard something over the intercom that stopped their battle on that instantly. Self-destruct has been active. You have 15 minutes to evacuate before your imminent destruction. Please proceed to the nearest exit, and have a wonderful day. That's a shame. It was getting good. See you around, kid. As she tossed a smoke grenade, as she made her way out of the room to get out of the laboratory, she doesn't want to be here when the self-destruct goes off. Izuku waves his hands around to get some of the smoke to disperse. When he was finally able to see after a couple seconds, saw his opponent is no longer there. Oh well, I better get out of here. I would rather not be here when this place eventually explodes. Once Izuku sheathed his blade, he immediately went into a sprint, running out of the room. After running through a couple of hallways, he saw a huge metal door closing slowly from the top to the bottom, basically. It's slowly descending down to shut. Several soldiers saw him running towards them. They immediately opened fire. Izuku weaved around the bullets and struck them down with his sword, then immediately went into a slide, going underneath the door as it shuts mere inches away from his head. As the huge sealed door finally shut, sealing him off from the laboratory, Izuku found himself in a mine shaft. As he continued to run as fast as he can to get as far away from the laboratory as possible, he doesn't know if this mine shaft can withstand the shockwave of the explosion, what's about to happen. He figured a lot of tunnels will most likely collapse on each other, so he decided to cover as much ground as possible. While trying to get as far as possible, Izuku felt the vibration of the explosion go off as the tunnels behind him began to collapse on itself, forcing Izuku to increase his efforts in running. He finally got to the end of the tunnel. The moment he got out of the tunnel, he jumped up in the air as he found himself in a large chamber. As he dives down into the water, the chamber underwater is connected to a tunnel, an underground water tunnel, basically. From the area flooding, from the mine flooding, he swam up to the surface and gasped for air. When he got out of the water, he looked around the chamber, seeing several mine shaft tunnels all around this huge chamber. Some are acceptable. I can't pronounce this right. Accessible, but some are too high up to get to. He swam to the edge to get out of the water as he begins to explore the chamber with a bit of cautiousness. And he has no clue of what type of material was used to mine in this mine. He's unsure if the safety committee was mining something here for resources. He sees all the mining equipment with pickaxes scattered all around the chamber with no evidence of what type of material they were mining here. Ezekiel felt a pebble land on his shoulder as he looked up to investigate to the ceiling, only to see it's infested with these white creatures that are using their long claws to hang from the ceiling. Several of these monsters noticed Izuku and they gave out a screech noise once they spotted him. That figures, whatever these things are, I've never seen them before. They don't look too friendly, judging by the sharp teeth and the drool coming from their mouth. And that hungry look they're giving me doesn't really help my concerns. And there's quite a lot of them up there. What to do. So the monsters that's on the ceiling of the chamber jumped downwards and tried to lunge at Izuku. Izuku quickly chopped the head of the monster off, head of the creature off. I could probably kill all of them, as Izuku dodged another cave monster lunging at him. Izuku thrust the tip of his sword through the creature's skull, killing it instantly. As he jumps to the side to dodge an incoming attack from one of the monsters. When the Nightcrawler tried to take a bite of Izuku's ankle, he kicked it in the face, making it go flying against the hard rock wall of the chamber. As it instantly snapped the Nightcrawler's neck the moment he made impact with the stone wall, killing it on the spot. That was close. You're a feisty bunch, aren't you? Izuku noticed more of these creatures dropping down from the ceiling. Izuku jumped in the middle of the air and landed on one of the mine wooden tracks. Then he made his way running into a tunnel. Izuku saw an incoming mine cart coming his direction as he hugged the wall to the side. As the mine cart barely misses him, as it goes down the track, as it flies off it, as there's a loud crash noise when it finally landed on the lower level of the chamber. A group of night crawlers immediately pounce on the noise, trying to see if anything's there to eat. Izuku did not wait to see what was going to happen. He immediately ran into the tunnel. When he saw a cart in the distance, he immediately jumped inside it and dove inside as a whole group of nightcrawlers come running past him, not noticing his presence. Izuku took out the monster journal from his suit. He eventually found out what these creatures are. They're nightcrawlers. They have razor sharp teeth and claws. They're unable to see. They're unable to see. They hunt by sound and feel alone. Their skin is pure white. He read in a journal, according to these nightcrawlers, if they're familiar with your scent, if they even catch your scent, it's almost impossible for you to escape. You would either have to kill the Nightcrawler that's after you, or you would die from the Nightcrawler eating you. Running is pointless. It will hunt you until it kills its prey, or the predator dies. It's a very dangerous, according to the journal. If Izuku didn't have his runes active on his body, he would be in trouble. When Izuku finally saw the closest clear, he exited the mine cart and walked deeper into the mines. Izuku got to the end of the tunnel, leading to a smaller chamber. He saw nothing but a wide range area. At the end of further down the chamber, Izuku could see a huge rock wall. On top of that rock wall is another tunnel that's leading to a new area of the mine that he hasn't been before, forcing Izuku to scale the walls, to climb the wall to get to the upper level to get access to that tunnel. Izuku noticed the decrepit wooden stairs leading up to the tunnel itself. By the looks of it, it looks like it hasn't been maintained for many years. Majority of the steps are missing, very unstable. He knows that structure won't support his weight, so he's going to have to scale the old-fashioned way. Izuku was left with no choice but to create very sharp black silver knives in both of his hands as he shoved the pointy objects into the wall with his pure physical strength. Make sure he gets a good grip as he begins to scale the wall with the knives. He kept scaling up the wall until he got to the top and pulled himself up. He immediately jumped to the left, dodging a incoming minecart, barely missing him. As the minecart shoots off the cliff side, the wall basically, and drop down to the ground as there's a loud crash noise. Izuku looked in the tunnel to see a flying red imp pointing at him and laughing. As Izuku noticed 5 of them as they flying around him, kind of mocking him as they all separate in different directions. Izuku has seen these imps in the monster journal. These imps are pretty much harmless. This species is known to be quite mischievous and plays pranks on humans. Normally humans can't see imps. Only people that can see them have to have access to magic or any other supernatural creature. Izuku did hear several footsteps coming towards his direction. The loud noise was not unnoticed, as the night crawlers are in hot pursuit. Izuku picked up his speed and ran down the mine shaft, eventually leading to some sort of mining elevator, or lift basically. He pressed the button to call the cart down, but it's going to take some time to get down to the level where he's at. It takes much time for the Nightcrawler to catch up to feel the area in front of him. As Izuku gets ready, as he unsheathes his sword, ready to strike at the slightest movements from these creatures, Izuku immediately struck down the closest Nightcrawler that came in range. Izuku extended his other hand outwards as he cast Chain Lightning, as a magic circle appeared over his palm of his hand, as chain lightning shootout, electrocuting a whole group of nightcrawlers, killing them instantly. It doesn't matter how many he kills. They easily get replaced in mere seconds, as he created large barriers over a group of them, as he slowly decreased the size, crushing the nightcrawlers in a meat paste. He created another barrier to stop the other nightcrawlers from constantly overrunning him. As the nightcrawlers were bashing against the magical shield, trying to get through, the monster kept piling up over each other, trying to break down the barrier. As the elevator finally arrived, he immediately entered it and pressed the button to go upwards. The moment the elevator got to the stop at the highest level it could get to, Izuku created a dagger and cut the wire connecting to the elevator. As the elevator falls down, so any other people can't backtrack or follow him any further. He highly doubt these nightcrawlers are intelligent enough to use the elevator, but he doesn't want any nasty surprises sneaking up on him. He saw Spotlight finally when he was walking through the tunnels. As he immediately exits the mine, he falls down on the grass, laying on his back, as he breathes in the fresh air. Finally, some fresh air. That was quite a detour. Izuku got up to his feet and collapsed the entryway to the mine. He highly doubts the nightcrawlers will venture up here to hunt him down, but he wants to prevent any future mishaps. Good thing I got out of there when I did. It seems like my runes on my neck are finally disappearing. That means I need to reply on another one when I get back to the city. Izuku finally look around his surroundings. He doesn't recognize the area. Izuku began walking, trying to get to the main road, or any road, so he can make his way back to the city. It's pretty early in the morning. He didn't realize he spent the entire night going through that laboratory and going through that huge mine filled with those flesh-eating creatures. Several hours later, Izuku walked back to his hotel room, making it into the city. The moment he entered his hotel room, he flopped down in the bed, instantly falling asleep. The next day, he went to Principal Nezi's office at UA. I downloaded what was on their mainframe on his flash drive before the whole place decided to blow up. Excellent work. I'll take a look at it later. Tonight. I hope there wasn't any problems. Few things that came up during the mission. I fought a well-skilled opponent that the safety committee had under their leash. Don't know her name, but she's extremely skilled. If I would have to take a guess by her performance during our fight, she's most likely an assassin that has access to magic, a very deadly combination. Magic, you say? Well, that's troubling. Hey, you have a new target for me? Curious of this opponent you fought against. I'll have to get a description from you at a later date. But yes, I do have your next target. We located one of the changelings that's in the city. Surprisingly, it's not too far away from this location. They're about 4 miles out. We found one of the safety committee sub headquarters. They didn't really hide it, I just didn't really notice it at first. Nezzy took a tablet and slide it to the desk over to Izuku, as it has some information about the sub headquarters of the safety committee. As he read through the information, including the actual address to the place, according to what you have here, this sub headquarters has very impressive security. I should expect nothing less of this safety committee, considering how advanced that laboratory was before it blew up, of course. That laboratory was connected to some sort of old mines. Let's just say I had fun time going through that. I had to collapse the tunnel because what's inside the mine itself. They're a monster called night crawlers. She placed the monster manual on the desk, open up to the page of the night crawlers. As Nezu goes over the information, indeed a terrifying creature. According to this, nightcrawlers don't give up. They will hunt you down until they either die or they finish off their prey. I wonder why they didn't get your scent, according to this. Place a magical rune on my flesh. Any supernatural creature that have superior sense, sight, hearing, will have a hard time locating me. It's been a lifesaver during all my hunts so far. I tend to find trouble quite frequently. But let's get back to the mission briefing. According to you have here, I can see two ways I can enter this base. The first option is not my main choice. I'm not much for flashiness. Rather not go through the front door. That'll just be a hassle. I take it this is the only changeling that you've located so far? Fortunately, yes. I haven't been able to track any more down. I'm not certain if the council of the safety committee are all changelings. Getting intel on a safety committee is very dangerous. They're not good people. I've been trying to expose them for years, ever since I found out about the organization. They have too much power. They dictate who becomes a hero and who doesn't. And members of the hero organization can't do anything about it. They can't stop them. They have too much power. This is only many of sub-bases that the safety committee has, scattered all around Japan. And we don't know where they're all located at currently. I'm still trying to pinpoint all their locations. Feeling this is going to be a long mission. It's probably going to be an active mission for quite a while. Japan's not too small, so it's going to take a little bit. Ever since Japan extended their territory into other countries before the war between the vampire and humanity started. I'll start the mission, prepping for the mission tonight. I have to get some supplies in order to get into the sub headquarters. I'll have to get past the front gate that's connected to the front gate of the huge wall surrounding the base entirely. I'll contact you when I'm done. As Izuku left Nezu's office, trying to get all the necessary resources or equipment to infiltrate the base. He's never infiltrated a base like this before, or any base. And he notices safety community base that's in this city is probably quite advanced with technology. Izuku decided to hit the black market in the city after he bought all the necessary items he needs for this little job. He started to stake out the building on top of one of the roofs of the skyscrapers that's near the area. He's high enough on the sill. Well, the building itself is high enough so the people in the base won't notice him on top of the building. Izuku expects that the inside of the structure is probably as heavily technology as the outside, and probably well-armed soldiers are waiting for him. When night finally came, Izuku began his operation. After a nice little ride on the maintenance lift that they used to clean windows to the upper floors of the skyscraper, he finally found his way down on the street level. He used the back alleyways to get closer to the base to make sure no one noticed him approaching. So everyone's unaware of his presence. He stealthily went closer to the base. As he leaned against one of the walls of the alleyway, he peeked over the corner to see the base walls. He noticed several security cameras placed in the middle of the wall, and above the camera, a little inches above, is automatic sentry guns. Any attempt to scale the wall will be met with gunfire from the automatic sentry guns. And they don't look and they look pretty dangerous. Izuku took out a weird-looking round device. When Izuku threw it at the wall, a long spike revealed itself as it dug into the concrete wall. Immediately, it set off a small EMP charge, making the cameras and sentry gun in that area right there offline for a little bit, giving Izuku 3 minutes before the effects of the EMP wears off. Izuku pulled out a grappling hook that was attached to a black rope. Izuku swung the grappling hook up on the wall. Once he got a good enough grip, he begins to scale the wall while climbing up to the top with the rope. Izuku did the same thing on the opposite side to get into the base. Izuku used the grappling hook to get on the other side of the wall. He immediately ducked under a large wooden crate as he saw a truck filled with well-armed soldiers in all black. It might be a sub-headquarters / base, but it's still pretty big. Izuku pulled out a pistol from his lower part of his back, out of the holster, and attached a silencer to the barrel of the gun. When the vehicle passed him, he continued forward, dodging any spotlights coming from the security towers that's all around the wall of the base. Basically what it is. It's all around. Kind of like how prisons have around the wall so prisoners can't escape. But the same concept, but it's not a prison, it's just a base. Izuku approached one of the safety committee soldiers, smoking a cigarette, as he approached him from behind, and placed his pistol towards the guy's head. as he pulled the trigger. As the man falls down to the ground dead, Izuku placed the dead body in a large metal container that's near the entryway of this entrance. Well, the entryway getting into the base. He took the guard's security card from the dead soldier and made his way into the building. Izuku ran into an empty room. As Izuku immediately heard footsteps coming towards his direction. He ran into the closest room he saw. As he leaned against the wall, waiting for the soldiers to pass him. Once he heard there was no more footsteps, he gently and cautiously exited the room and made his way further down the hallway. He noticed a room. There's the big bold letters, server room. So he went into the security room, basically server room, basically what it is. As he saw two security guards watching monitors of the camera feeds. As he shot both of them in the back of the head, with his silencer that's attached to his pistol. Izuku stuck a flash drive in the mainframe and uploaded a virus, as all the cameras were deactivated, as the virus is proceeding to tear apart the mainframe from the inside out. Izuku evacuated the room with his leisure. Izuku created several throwing knives. When he saw the stairs, he saw two guards in the way. Izuku threw out his black throwing knives, killing the two men on the spot. Izuku climbed up the stairs as he continued the pathway to get to continue his pathway up the flight of stairs, trying to get to the highest level that's possible on this side of the building. Unfortunately, the other stairs is on this floor, but on the other side. Izuku walked through the door when he finally got on top of the stairs on this side of the building. Once he gauged his surroundings, he noticed how deathly quiet this floor is. It seems like this whole floor has been abandoned for some reason. Izuku's been walking around for a few minutes, and he's never once seen any guard or any cameras. No sign of life. Izuku heard something running towards his direction. Izuku dove into one of the rooms as a humongous black werewolf with red glowing eyes walked past the room, sniffing as he raised his snout up in the air. He grumbled to himself, "You gotta be kidding me. They actually have a werewolf here? And by the looks of it, it's not a feral either. And judging by the key card that's dangling around his neck, I'm probably going to be needing that to get to the higher level floors." Izuku holstered his gun. Izuku ran towards the werewolf when the werewolf turned his head from the noise behind him. The werewolf went flying into one of the walls in the hallway. After Izuku struck it in the face with his fist, Izuku immediately ran past him into a large room. It only took mere seconds for the werewolf to follow. All running into the room on all fours, snarling at Izuku. "Come on, Fido. I don't know who you are, or why you're here. For that remark, I'm gonna rip the flesh off your dead bones, and devour your corpse. Treat for you, Fido." Izuku took out some black silver brass knuckles out of his pocket of his jacket and placed it over his fist. Izuku began to scratch while the werewolf got on on his two legs and walk towards Izuku. Hovering over him because of his height is a 7-foot werewolf staring down upon Izuku like he's some easy meal or to die human. Izuku was the first one to strike as he slammed his fist into the chest of the werewolf, making him go sliding backwards. The moment the werewolf stopped moving, he rushed forward towards Izuku and swung out a right hook to Izuku's face, only for Izuku to duck under his fist and land a solid hit across the werewolf's face again, making the werewolf go flying into the wall of the room. Come on, Fido. You're gonna have to do a lot better than that, or you'll get no kibbles and bits. I'm starting to dislike you, human. Don't be like that. I'm a good guy. Shouldn't you be man's best friend? You just have to get to know me. I'm a good guy. The werewolf simply moved so fast it looked like it disappeared. Then it reappeared and swung his fist into an uppercut, digging into Izuku's stomach, lifting Izuku off the ground a couple of inches. As the werewolf followed up his attack with both of his hands, slamming into Izuku's back, making him hit the ground hard. The werewolf immediately tried to throw out a kick, only to miss as Izuku rolled out of the way. Izuku didn't have much time to formulate a plan, as he sees a very pissed off werewolf coming running at him. Izuku ran towards the werewolf and did a spin kick across the snout of the werewolf. The moment his foot made contact with the werewolf's face, Izuku jumped backwards to get some distance. Izuku watched the werewolf dig his claws into the ground, stopping his momentum when he landed that spin kick from him. Izuku extended his hand outwards towards the werewolf as a magic circle appeared over the palm of his hand. Highly condensed fireballs shot out a barrage of fireballs, flying towards the werewolf. Several small explosions went off when the fireballs finally hit its target. When the smoke finally cleared, the werewolf crossed his arms in an X motion across his chest. As Izuku realized he's basically unharmed because of his regeneration. And all you got, human? I barely felt that. If those nifty little fireballs is all you have, you're not going to last long, little human. As the werewolf stares at his prey, instead of seeing a facial expression of pure fear, he saw something completely opposite. As Izuku has a massive grin on his face, as his hair is overshadowing his eyes, as he starts laughing hysterically, as he pulled out his sword from his sheath. I got plenty more in the tank. Little Fido, maybe if you make things interesting, I might give you some kibbles and bits. And don't forget a nice little bone for you. Izuku pointed his sword at the werewolf with a crazy expression on his face. Izuku's always wanted to fight a werewolf that wasn't feral, that actually has some intelligence. No challenge in fighting a mindless beast. Izuku also been always wanted to fight a lichen. But at this current time, a intelligent werewolf is the next best thing. That's where we're gonna stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Judge my time, son. and I'll catch you in the next video.